Do you want to be successful in every area of your life? What if I tell you that we can do that just by changing our self-image? Sounds impossible? Well, I'll show you how. Hi, I'm Anagha, a life coach specializing in personal development, relationships, and mindset growth. Welcome to my channel. In today's episode, we'll be looking at what self-image is and how it develops, how to make an accurate self-assessment, and why to change it. I'll also be sharing with you some powerful but unorthodox ways and techniques in which we can change it to transform our life to new opportunities, better relationships in ways we never thought possible before. So let's get started. To start off, we need to understand what self-image is because unless we know what our current self-image is, we cannot change it, right? So, what is self image? Self image is nothing but a personal view or a mental picture we have of ourselves. It is like an internal dictionary that describes ourselves. It describes what we think about ourselves, how we feel of ourselves, how we see ourselves. And but to assess our current self image is very important, right? And to accurately assess it is more important. So, how do we do it? We can do it based of things like our physical appearance, our personality, uh, our intelligence, our social and technical skills, our moral values and principles, our gender, sexuality, etc., etc. It can be in the areas of work, relationships, health, finances, etc. There are some unorthodox ways in which we can also find our self-image, which can be like if we can assess it by understanding what we like and dislike, what makes us smile and frown, what makes us happy and sad, what do we like to think about, what do we like to speak or talk about, what do we like to do generally in life. So that is how we can assess our self-image. But we have to make sure that our self-image is correct and there are no false assumptions about it. It is important to look at our self-image through our own eyes and not somebody else's. We can definitely take somebody else's opinion about ourselves into consideration, but the final opinion should be our own. Now, this is very important. And why it is important? Because we always tend to accept our own opinion about ourselves and stuff, you know, and that is our own opinion is what is going to matter and affect us the most. So that is why we need to think about our self-image on our own and not depend on others for it. But there can be certain pitfalls in trying to assess ourselves or understand ourselves. Maybe we sometimes have difficulties honestly, accurately assessing ourselves. And that can be for various reasons. And we need to remember not to rate our worth as human beings based on some negative traits or points we have, right? We need to remember to be real but not harsh. Don't be unnecessarily hard on yourself. Because remember, ultimately, this is exercise, this assessing of our self-image and doing this whole process is going to help us become better, right? So be real but not harsh. Also, what sometimes happens is we have this ideal image in our mind, a picture of our ideal self in our mind. And maybe we are not very close to that ideal self. But there is also a possibility that what we currently are is better than what we were, say, 5 or 10 years back, right? And maybe those changes, the progress has gone unnoticed or uncelebrated, right? So There is nothing like a perfect human being. We have to remember that and not be unnecessarily hard on ourselves. We have to celebrate our milestones, right? So now that we have done all the work in honestly and accurately assessing our own current self-image, we get to the juicy part, which is why to change our self-image and how can it actually transform our life, right? So what do you think? How can we change it? And can it actually transform your life? How to have a good self-image? One of the ways is being a good person on the inside. And why being a good person is important to know that, check out my last episode. I'll put a link to it in the description box below. So coming back to our topic. So now, according to the law of attraction, why should we go on this journey of changing our self-image and how do we transform our world? I'll give you an example. Suppose we feel we are good in our career, but our romantic relationships are a little bit unhealthy. So what do? We work on that area first of our romantic relationships. We find out our limiting beliefs related to romantic relationships. What is our blueprint in our mind of a romantic relationship? We first find that out. And then we try to change the blueprint. What is the definition of a romantic relationship in our mind? We first find that out. Because unless the definition or the blueprint inside us changes, our relationships on the outside will not change. You will go from one relationship to the other and wonder why none of them work out or none of them are healthy. It is not going to work out unless you change your inner blueprint. As within, so without, according to the law of transformation. And once you start working on this area, on having healthy romantic relationships, changing your definition, changing your limiting beliefs, once you start working on that, you will see the change in yourself and ultimately in the relationship, in your current relationship, bit by bit, you will see the change as you change. And maybe if you're not currently in a relationship and you do the work, your next relationship will definitely be healthy, a healthy one. Trust me, it is according to the law of attraction. Changing your inner patterns related to your relationship will bring about the transformation you need in this area. And this can work in every area of our life, right? So we can transform every part of our life by changing our inner patterns, inner beliefs related to that area. And then you will see your relationship transform. We can do this in every area of our life. Whichever area needs work, we can work on it and ultimately work on all the areas of our life, and our life will transform, right? Now, I would like to share with you some powerful but unorthodox ways of changing our self-image. How can you change your self-image and bring about the transformation we actually need, right? So how do we do it? To change your self-image, I would recommend a very powerful exercise. Before going to bed or just after waking up, you can do this exercise. Recall and think about all the stuff that happened during the day. Just recall it in your mind. What were your thoughts? What did you say? What did you do? The actions you took, the words you spoke, the thoughts you had. Also, we need to think about other people's words and actions towards us, right? And reflect on this and analyze it. Trust me, this, and after you're done this, we try to appreciate and congratulate ourselves for all the good that we did, but not be very hard on yourself for all the not so good that we did, right? And also not be too hard on ourselves. for whatever we didn't do right. Trust me, this is a very powerful exercise. It will shed a light on so many things. If you just reflect and analyze, you will understand so many things. You will be able to plan for the future. You will understand the areas which you need to work on the most in your life and the things which you need to change about yourself. And you will realize so many things. And you need to analyze and reflect on these things. And you need to do this every single day. Trust me, it works and it is very powerful. Just don't stop. Do it every day. And then, before we get to the juicy part, I would recommend one more exercise. Just one more. Try meditating for 10 minutes every day. Now, we have so many misconceptions related to meditation. We feel we need to have achieve the state of a complete blank mind, and that is what meditation is. But it this comes from years and years of dedicated practice in meditation, and only after that we achieve some part of it, like having a blank mind. For beginners like you and me, what we can do is we can just sit in meditation. We can just sit down with our eyes closed and try to slow down and calm down. We need to do this. Just try to slow down and calm down. Let thoughts come and go. Let them pass. Do not get involved in them. Be like a silent witness to your thoughts, a witness entity. It is called in meditation. Be like a silent witness. Do not judge them. Do not get involved in them. Do not criticize them. Do not appreciate them. Do not get involved in them. Just be like a silent witness. Let them come. Let them go. Just let them pass. Okay? If you do this at night time, you will get a deep, restful sleep and you will feel refreshed in the morning. Very refreshed. If you do it in the morning, you will feel so energized and calm and peaceful that you will get a good start to your day. This is about the practice of meditation. And after the meditation is done, try analyzing the thoughts, feelings, and the emotions you had during meditation and also during the exercise which we spoke about earlier. These are the two practices we can take to analyze and reflect to so that to understand ourselves, our life, our thoughts, our patterns, our inside, basically what is on the inside. We need to understand that. And this these exercises will help us to understand that. And when we analyze and reflect on them, that will and then change them, that will bring about the transformation. So how do we do that? We take one emotion at a time, okay? And try to find the source of that emotion. Try to go to the source of that emotion. The source of that emotion can be a thought, it can be a belief, it can be an incident, etc. Now, analyze it, reflect it, and correct the negative thought or the belief at the source, at the core. Working on the core of the matter is the key here. That is where the transformation will happen. So, how to find the core? Suppose you realize that there is a particular thought behind an emotion or a pattern. So what do? We question the thought. Why do we have that thought? And whatever answer we get, we question that answer again and just go back and questioning all the answers that we get, questioning all our thoughts. Just go back. I'll give you an example. Suppose we let's take the example we discussed before of unhealthy relationship patterns in our life. Okay. Mm, we can suppose we recognize that there is a pattern in this, and the pattern is that suppose you meet somebody and the person gives you compliments, they praise you, and after a certain amount of time, you fall in love with them and get into a relationship with them, and you spend time with them, you spend time, money, and give them favors. But after a certain period of time, what happens is they start asking you for all the favors, for the money, for the gifts, for whatever they start asking you. And you it is difficult for you to say no even a single time. And what happens is you feel used and you don't feel good about, right? And you realize that every relationship is the same. It is following the same pattern, right? So now we've recognized the pattern. We've recognized, uh, we can also recognize the pattern using the exercise which we previously discussed about uh, meditation and reflecting and analyzing our day. So we can find so many things by just reflecting on our life and our patterns, and we'll understand so many things. We can use that exercise even to plan or understand our future steps we want to take. Okay, that was a little deviation. So back to the re unhealthy relationships part. So you feel used, right? And so now we need to break the pattern. We need to correct the pattern so that the next relationship will be healthy, right? So the question is, what do we do? So we question the behavior on our part. We have to analyze our behavior, right? So why we have to analyze, why do we spend money or favors every time there's a request? Why is it so difficult to refuse? Right? So we have questioned that. Now, what is the answer? Maybe every time we spend money on the person, that person praises us or compliments us every single time about how rich and successful we are, and basically just praises us a lot. And that makes us feel good. That makes us feel really good. But then, and we feel so loved because of that. We feel loved. We feel the person really loves us and we feel loved. But then every single time it happens, and we find it difficult to refuse even one single time. Why is that? That is unhealthy, right? So we question that, the answer. Why do we feel good when the person praises or compliments us? Because we feel loved. But then it is not making us feel good. How can love make us not feel good? So we question that, right? Why is love not making us feel good? Is there any other reason why we feel good other than love? Or is our definition of love something different than what can be said to be healthy? So we question that, and maybe we realize that what we actually feel when they praise us or compliment us is we feel validated. We feel validated on the inside. We feel loved on the inside. But behind the emotion of love, there is validation which we are seeking from the other person. So our definition of love is validation. It is seeking validation from external sources. So when there is a validation, we think that is love and we fall in love and we get into a relationship and the unhealthy pattern continues, right? So this method of questioning has been really useful for us, isn't it? We questioned the pattern and we went behind and we questioned every answer, and we found out the answer that we need validation, and our definition of love is seeking external validation. So now all we have to do is change this change this pattern of seeking external validation from outside. We have to validate ourselves on our own, on the inside, right? I mean, that is what is going to break the pattern, right? And correcting this pattern is what is going to do is we are going to move into healthy relationships. The next time we get into a relationship, it will be a healthy one once we correct the pattern, right? And not just romantic relationships. Do you realize the impact it will have on all our relationships? Maybe all the relationships have a same or similar pattern of seeking external validation. So just when you just have this one small shift. It might sound small but difficult to implement. I'm sure of that. I know that. But just this one small shift, and there is such a huge transformation in all of your relationships, not just your romantic relationship. I mean, what a transformation. Do you realize that? What a transformation that will be. I recently came across a podcast episode of Miss Naisha Khanna on seeking external validation. It is a really good it is a really good episode and it covers almost everything on the topic. It is a must watch. I'll share a link to it in the description below. Now coming back to our episode, finding the core and correcting the emotion thought pattern at the core is the key. Otherwise, it can be so difficult to make the transformation, to make the change. It will be very difficult to correct it. So, this is a very effective, easy, and long lasting way of bringing about that change. Now, this process will lead to the inner transformation, and you will see the results depending on which area you work on. Like we previously discussed, we saw the area of romantic relationships and how we can transform it. You can use the same you can apply the same technique to it, and you can see and you can transform the area of romantic relationships. And you can apply this technique to each and every area of your life and watch your relations and watch your world transform. Whichever area you work on, that will transform, that will be, you will bring about a change in that area of your life. And that is how the transformation will occur. Transformation is never easy, but a road less traveled can also lead to beautiful destinations. It might not be easy at first, but keep at it. Improving self-image or basically anything in life is a choice. We always have a choice and we get the results depending on the choices we make in the now, in this moment, in every moment. So choose you, do the work, and watch your life magically transform. If you found the inspiration to transform your life in this episode, give it a thumbs up. Give me a yes in the comments below if you think it would work for you and start the journey soon. I would love it if you find if your life transforms because of this episode and you find the joy and fulfillment you are always searching for in your life. Best of luck. Thank you for listening and like, share and subscribe. Till then, be happy and keep smiling.